So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters from all around the world, my name is Aaron. I am the president for this club. Welcome you abroad to Compare Communicators, where you compete with yourself. So, we are one of the 24 online clubs currently online, ready to serve you 365 days per year. And also, most importantly, is that we want to care about you as much as we care about ourselves. So we usually have a guest introduction session before we move on to passing the mic to our Toastmaster of the day, which will be the MC to facilitate everything. So today's theme is vacation. Is there anywhere that you want to go? Somewhere, some places? And if you do, I would love everyone to introduce your name, where you're from, and one place you want to go. Give me one city or one country. Think about it. And also, by the way, Happy New Year to everyone around the world. So usually these are the days whereby we visit different homes to get angbaos, whereby it's just to bring in the lively, festive mood. So we start off with William to introduce himself, where he's from, and also one place he wants to go.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow Toastmasters, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you be. My name is William Thomas. I am the co-founder of this club. And one place I would like to go, Mr. President, is to the Bahamas. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Trisha.
Hello, I'm Trish. I live near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is a historical town. And in 23 days, I will be in Jamaica on my vacation. Back to you.
Thank you. And next we have our guest with Duche. I just pronounce it, hopefully it's correct again.
Hello, my name is Vidushi Kaushal, and one place I want to visit is Leh in India. I have never been to this place, but I have seen the beauty, so I want to go there.
Thank you. Give a round of applause to our guests coming by. Next, we have Ruth to introduce herself.
Yes, I am Ruth Hart. I'm from Des Moines, Iowa. One place that I've wanted to go, and am in fact going, will be France and Spain. I'm walking the Camino de Santiago in September and October, so I'm very excited about that. Mr. President.
Thanks a lot. Next we have is Gerard.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Gerard O'Hanlon. And in about 3 weeks, hopefully I'll be back on the beach for the remainder of the winter. Thank you.
Next we have Matt.
Thank you, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Matt Smittle. I live in North Georgia. I like to keep my vacations very simple. I only travel 2 hours away from me. I do that every so often. I'll take a 2 to 3 day mini vacation, usually to Atlanta. Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next we have Cheryl.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Cheryl Poirier, and I'm in Winnipeg, Canada. My idea of a great vacation is within my own country most of the time. There's only one province I haven't visited, so I'd like to go to Newfoundland, Labrador. I would also like to go to my northern territories, Nunavut and the Northwest Territories and the Yukon. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next we have Frank.
Hello, everybody, Toastmaster members. My name is Frank Rubio, and I'm coming from Indian Trail, North Carolina, and where I want to be in June is Japan, because that's where my daughter is stationed there. She's a Marine. Back to you, Mr. President.
Ah, wow. Thank you, Frank. Next, we have Surda.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Sridhar Muktaneni. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. One place that I would want to go for vacation is Paris, France. I've been there once in the past because of work, but I didn't really get a chance to go around and explore. So I want to go there for vacation next time. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next we have Sunny.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. The place I'd like to go most is where I just came from. Last week, I came back from a cruise with Oprah Winfrey, her best friend Gail. It was a 3-day girls getaway to Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas, filled with rest, relaxation, and inspiration. Back to you, Mr. President.
Did you just say Oprah Winfrey?
Oprah Winfrey, that's what I meant.
Okay, good round applause. Okay, next is Adrian.
Good afternoon or evening or morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am Adrian. I am from Eastern Washington State, and I would like to visit Carlsbad, New Mexico. Never been, and I'm sort of a rock hound, so that'd be a great place to take a vacation. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to welcome Stefan.
Calling in from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Good news, I survived the polar vortex last week. The next winter storm is approaching tonight. I want to go somewhere warm and sunny, and more specifically, I'm going to go to China. I've never been to China. I don't have any excuse for that. Travel guide, and there's so much to see in China. So I want to go to China. Back to you, Mr. President.
Sure. Thank you very much. Next, I would like to welcome Harim.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hello, Toastmaster. This is Hariom from Jersey City, New Jersey. One place I would like to visit is, like Stephen said, China, given that it's Chinese New Year, and it's an exciting place to be. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And then next, we would like to welcome Rolando Goldman. Rolando, we can't hear you. Mic test. Still couldn't, but we will get back to you soon. You can type yourself to introduce yourself in the chat box. Last but not least, I would like to check with Dana J. Is he still here? If not, then I'll introduce where I want to go, because I haven't said where my city wants to go. I really want to go to somewhere that is really pleasant, really fun to be with, and lots of different places of attraction that will be in Spain. Hopefully this year I will aim to go back to Spain again, but this time I want to go to see, go to Toledo, whereby there will be some sort of historical festive event there that I'm looking for every single year, which I've never been there, which is the Bullfighting Festival. Next, in our club itself, we usually do have a set of. Oh, sorry. Rolando, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Introduce yourself. Yay.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Rolando Goldman. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. I'm delighted to be here tonight. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. And that concludes our guest introduction. Give a round of applause for being here. In any meeting, there will be a very world-class Toastmaster that is always doing every single job, ensuring all the roles taken, and making sure that our meeting flows very smoothly. Who is that world-class Toastmasters that is in this meeting today? We have Ruth, that is going to be our Toastmaster today. Let's warmly welcome Ruth.
Good evening. Thank you so much for that welcome, Aaron. First of all, I'm going to go through the roles today so that we understand who's doing what and we can make any adjustments if we need to. In fact, the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a small adjustment with the inspiration Today, Siridar, you were signed up to do the inspiration. You came a little late, so I kind of assigned that to Adrian as well. So if you guys could share that, so if you could be each do 30 seconds of being inspirational. Our counter today is Matthew. Our grammarian is Frank. Our body language monitor is Cheryl. Our chat monitor is William. Our timer is Gerard. Speaker 1 is Aaron, and Aaron's evaluator will be Stefan. Speaker 2 is Hariom. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. And Aaron is going to be your evaluator. Speaker 3 is Trisha, and William is going to be Trisha's evaluator. Topic master will be Sunny. General evaluator will be William. He seems to be a jack of all trades today. Now what we'll do next is we'll go through the order of the meeting. I'll call on someone, I'll announce who that person is, and then I'll ask them to explain their role. But first we'll do the inspirational speaker before we go into roles. So Siridar and Adrian, if you want to choose which one of you goes first, and we could share an short inspiration from each of you.
Yes, I will go first. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. For our inspiration today, since our theme is vacations, I thought we can start off with Only I Can Change My Life. No One Can Do It For Me by Carol Burnett. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. And Siridar, do you have a 30-second topic?
Yes. Since the topic is vacation, I kind of had a phrase on vacation too. Like take vacations, go as many places as you can. You can always make money. You can always make memories.
Thank you, Siridar. When I heard the theme was vacation, all I could think of was the theme from the Pokemon movie, that very zippy song, Vacation Party on the Beach. So keep that little earworm in the back of your mind as we go through the meeting. Our counter today is Matthew. Matthew, can you explain a little bit about what your role will be?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. A lot of times when people speak and we don't know what to say, we'll go or use double clutches. I'll be listening for all those, and then I will give a report at the end of the meeting to our general evaluator. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. The next role is Frank, as our grammarian. Can you briefly explain the role of the grammarian, Frank?
Yes, I will be your grammarian today, and I'll be introducing a new word and monitor your language and grammar usage. Back to you.
And what is the word of the day?
Ruth. Oh, give it to you now? Here it is. Okay,
if you
let me share my screen.
That way we have a little more time to
I got
think
it.
about it.
Here we go. And let's see. Can you see that? Okay. The word for today is ambivalent. Two definitions of ambivalent is continued fluctuation is between one thing and its opposite. Uncertainty is to which approach to follow. Here's an example in a sentence. Although her husband was a football fanatic, she was quite ambivalent about the sport. Ambivalent. Please try to use that today in your speeches. And back to you, Ruth, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. And
Let me
Cheryl, you're
stop
serving
sharing.
as our body language monitor. Cheryl, correct?
The stop share is at the top of your screen, Frank.
Well, I could just go ahead and talk about body language,
that would be
even
a
though you
blessing.
can't see me, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, so as body language monitor today, I'll be looking for things like your facial expressions, if you use gestures, if we can see them, if they're necessary. And I'll also be looking at your use of the camera. Are you centered in the screen? Can we see your smiling face when you're speaking clearly? And everything that has to do with around you as well. Anything except the spoken language. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Gerard, you're our timer today. We met briefly ahead of time to talk about times. What kind of things are you going to be timing today?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My role as timekeeper, I'll be responsible for timing participants in their roles. I will show a green card when they hit minimum time, yellow card halfway through, and red card at the end, and you have 30 seconds to wrap up. At the end of the meeting, I will report times and if you did not qualify time-wise. Thank you.
Awesome. And why is it important to keep time? Why do we do that as Toastmasters?
So it could be more precise.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Close?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have three sections of the meeting. We have the speaking role, the listening role, and the evaluating. Those three skills that we're learning within a given meeting. We're going to move into the speaker roles. What I'm going to do briefly is I'm going to announce the speaker. I'm going to give their name, and then I'm going to ask their evaluator to give the objectives for that speaker. And then the person will speak. I will give a brief introduction before they speak. The person will speak, and then we'll have a moment of silence, and I'll remind you of that, which Gerard will time after the end of each person's presentation so that we can give feedback to the person, and we'll do that via the chat box. So anything you see, anything you hear, any catches of phrase, positive things that the speaker can be encouraged in, or something that they can be challenged on and worked on. So our first speaker today is going to be Aaron, and he'll be speaking from the humorous path, which is a brand new path, he tells me. He'll be giving his icebreaker. Stefan, you're his evaluator. Do you have his objectives ready?
My understanding is that the objectives are to introduce yourself to the group and learn the basic structure of a speech. Aaron, please correct me if I'm wrong. This doesn't really fit a humorous speech, so I'm a little puzzled. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
To clarify, there's a new humorous path, just like we have the other 10 paths. It's just been released. So Aaron will be doing his icebreaker, which is the first speech for that humorous path. So he's not on the cutting edge, he's on the bleeding edge, I believe he just got the information very recently. And his time for his speech will be 4 to 6 minutes. I'll briefly give an introduction to a man who needs no introduction. Aaron is very involved in all things Toastmasters. We like to joke he's a toastaholic. And he has contributed not only to his own development, but to the development of numerous individuals. He is never one to shy away from a new path. And in fact, that's what he's going to be doing this evening with his icebreaker from the humorous path. And I believe his title is Here Comes the Humor. Aaron, would you like to go ahead?
Sure. Fellow Toastmasters, most distinguished guests from all around the world. As some of you may have actually known me, that I don't make people laugh. I'm not funny. And I'm actually going to take up this challenge of doing a pathway speech, an icebreaker speech, whereby if you are a delicate Toastmasters and you are up for a challenge, you realize that when you do paths, you always have to start from the beginning. The beginning of always an icebreaker. So currently I've finished 8 paths in pathways, and I'm doing my 9th, which is a humor path. A humor path, back to square one. Because I really want to see that at the end of this journey, I want to make people leaving a smile on their face. But ironically, my life is simply back to the beginning. I'm not a person with happy beginnings. Like now. though I'm still happy with every one of you here. Many, many years ago, I was born to a nice family, decent family that many one would love to have. A warm, cuddly hugs, the time whereby we crawl, when I was actually picking my favorite toy. I was in a league whereby if I want something, I would get it first. And that was before 4 years of happening. And then when we move on, after 4 years old, things start to change. Change to a point whereby the warm, cuddly hugs were no longer in present. The hugs that we usually do, I miss them so much to this very day. Those were greeted by cold, firm handshakes by relatives who have been taking care of me when I was growing up. I never had a nice pillow like this one. At least this one has a smiley face or a kiss from up here. But I don't have a lot of things that any normal kid would have. A nice pillow, maybe a bit of sunshine, because I was staying most of the time in the basement where there's no light. And for that simple reason, I have a phobia of light or darkness for the next 9 years. And I was simply just a person that is trying to startle. Look, if there is one person that's going to light me up, that takes nobody but myself. As we have lots of things in mind, you are the only one that really controls your life. Just like what we have as an inspiration from Adrian just now. Only I can change my life. I want to brighten it up with humors. And the first humor that I start to make was, look at me. I am thin. That doesn't make people laugh. No one cares about that. I thought of trying to make that as a joke. And then the next joke I start to really try to make people around me happy or laugh is that, look, I am fat. But that time I was skinny, not like now. I'm pretty chubbly right now. I still couldn't make people laugh. And still, times goes on, I try to refine my speeches, my interaction with the people around me, and I still don't make people laugh. That was, to this very day, something that I want to overcome. But now, if I say, look at this nice belly tummy here, this shows that I have been really, really enjoying my life for the past few years. I see smiles on someone's face first, but not enough to make a chuckle. What can I do next? I ask myself. There are many other things that you can do. Just like making or leaving a smile on their face as a fine appreciation for my time invested. If I'm going to spend time with everyone in the future, at least I live with a motto that is not like compare communicators where you compete with yourself. It's like, are you appreciated as a friend? And am I appreciated for my time? At least I want you, each and every single one of you, to live happier than I do. Because happiness lingers. Sadness will corrupt whatever your life would be. So along the time flows by, I start to become a Toastmaster. I start to trust people. I start to communicate. We fast accelerate to a point whereby we get to know people in general. We get to see their smiles. We get to see their frustrations. All their emotions are all in their faces. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there is one thing that you can take away from this simple speech, is that other than you know about myself, know about people around you first by their smiles. The lingering smiles can really turn you and transform you to who you are today, because their smiles means a true appreciation for who you are right now at this state. They're seeing you to transform self. With that in mind, I conclude my first icebreaker out of many, many years. Back to you.
Thank you, Aaron. If we could take one moment, if we could put a moment on the clock, Gerard, so that we can give some feedback to Aaron. Certainly there are many things that he does that makes us smile. If we could talk about some positive things in his speech, some things he could do differently possibly. If we could maybe list things that we were a little ambivalent about in his speech, or that he appeared ambivalent about in his speech, using the word of the day. We can sneak that into the chat box as well. Gerard, go ahead and put a minute on the clock.
Okay.
One of the things that's very important to do in Toastmasters, and we talked about, is the ability to give feedback, the ability to give positive affirmation to the person that's speaking. That's how we learn, is by how we get feedback. And one of the skills that we learn is how to receive feedback as well. So this is why we take this moment to do that. All right, I think we'll go ahead. Have we accomplished that 1 minute, Gerard?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. If you could maybe vocalize that to me as well, simply because I'm on my smartphone and I'm not seeing the red when it comes up. Our second speaker today is Hariam. He'll be speaking from the Competent Communicator Manual. He'll be doing speech 6, which is about vocal variety. His evaluator is going to be Rolando tonight, so that's a little bit of a change from what we spoke about earlier. Rolando, do you have his objectives by chance?
Yes, I do, Madam Toastmaster.
Awesome. Go ahead and proceed then.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Eliam is going to be working on project number 6. His objectives are use voice, volume, pitch, rate, and quality to reflect and add meaning and interest to your message. Use pauses to enhance your message. Use vocal variety smoothly and naturally. Time 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And your speech today was very interesting. It says, "My marriage, I will leave you." Let's welcome Hariam with his speech, "My marriage."
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. When I was a bachelor, people used to ask me whether you will go for arranged marriage or love marriage. I used to think, is there any difference? Is there any difference between getting murdered and committing suicide? So my dear Toastmasters and guests, today in my 6th speech, Vocal Variety, I'm going to talk about the journey of my love marriage in the land of arranged marriages, India. And the speech is called, "I Will Leave You." Scene 1, me sitting with my girlfriend, relationship of 3 years. My girlfriend starts, "Hariom, we have been dating since last 3 years. Isn't it amazing? Going to movies together, going to malls together, sharing our feelings with each other." I said, "Yeah, I knew that there's something wrong which is going to come very soon. And then she was like, just 1 week back, I mentioned my sister about you. I showed the picture and she wants to meet you. Okay, fine. You told me a few days back that you will be telling your parents about our relationship and about our marriage, that we want to get married. Did you tell them? I said, no, I'm just waiting for the right time. When will the right time come? She just stood up and she was like, if you don't tell them within 1 week, and she looked into my eyes, I will leave you. So, scene 2. Me sitting with my parents, my dad reading the newspaper, my mom cooking in the kitchen, there's this TV playing right in front of me, and I start this awkward conversation with my dad. Dad, you remember the cousin who had arranged marriage? She's not happy with her life. She told me that she's not enjoying her life. Okay. And there was another one who had love marriage and she's having fun. She went to Europe. She posted picture on Facebook. Her in-laws are really good. She's having so much of fun. She's having a nice time. Dad was like, okay, but what do you want to say? Dad, I love a girl and I want to marry her. Mom, who was cooking in the kitchen, she appeared. There was 1 minute of pin drop silence and then it started. Who is the girl? When did you meet her? Why are you doing this to us? What about her caste? You know, you said that you will go for MBA. There were a lot of people who were coming for your arranged marriage. We said no to them. One question after another. And it went for 6 hours. At 3 o'clock in the night, when my mom was tired, she was like, do whatever you want to do. And then she looked into my eyes and said, I will leave you. Scene 3 in my office. My boss calls me to my cabin, to his cabin. And he was like, Hariom, you have been working really well. We have decided to promote you and send you permanently to London. That time I was working in India. I thought in my mind that if I go to London, then there might be some problems at my marriage front because of the distance. And also I didn't want to leave my family, my dad and my mom and my girlfriend. So I said to Mark, you know what? I have some personal issues and I won't be able to go to London. What? Are you crazy? Just 1 week back, everything was fine. I fought with the senior managers to get you promoted. I got your visa done.
Maybe it's a different type of vocal variety.
The power of the pause.
Yeah, this is a really strong power.
Harian, if you can hear us, you froze.
Yeah, he kind of disconnected.
We want to give him a couple moments and chat about vacation while he's coming back on.
Hey,
that was very powerful.
There was some connection issue.
Oh, yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, sorry. So I went to my parents' place. I used to visit them every weekend. I used to ask my friends to contact them and convince them. The thing about the parents is that they just want to have their say in your life. At the end of the day, they want you to be happy. So my parents agreed and my marriage was fixed. So on the marriage day, surprisingly, everybody was happy. So my dad got drunk. He was very happy with my marriage, with my wife, and all the relatives were really excited. When all the ceremonies, everything was over, I sat alone in one of the corner and I thought to myself, the thought that Neil Armstrong might have thought after landing on the moon, that, oh my God, it was difficult, but worth it. 2 weeks after the marriage, I took a shower, left my wet towel on the bed. My wife looked at my activity, came near me, looked at my face. Hariom, amend your habits or I will leave you. Back to you, Madam Toastmasters.
Gerard, if we can have a moment of silence and we can give feedback to Hariom. And again, if you could help me by showing the cards or giving me an audio cue as well. And we can give that feedback in the chat box. I have to say about vacations, sometimes we take unexpected vacations and we end up being there a little longer than we imagined we would. In the past 2 weeks, I've been to Minnesota when it's 71 below and I got stuck, and now I'm in Chicago and I'm stuck once again in an ice storm. So the best laid plans of mice and men. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that over the past couple of weeks, but I'll be glad to be home.
Okay, that's 1 minute.
Okay, thank you, Gerard. Our third speaker today is Tricia. Tricia will be speaking for the Innovative Planning Level 3. She'll be giving her speech. And her evaluator is William. William, do you have her objectives prepared?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Fellow Toastmasters from around the world, Trisha's speech is supposed to be telling a story of interest and appeal to the audience. So I turn control back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Absolutely. And Gerard, her speech, as we discussed, will be 5 to 7 minutes. Taking inspiration from last week's meeting, Tricia will be sharing a story from her life. She hopes to do this in a way of refining the story for the 2019 speech contest. Please help me welcome Tricia. Tricia.
Do you find yourself ambivalent about taking a friend home to visit your parents, especially as someone you might be dating? Because you know it's inevitable, right? Out come the photo albums, especially the pictures of you as a baby. And most notably, of course, most of them you're naked because you're crawling around with no clothes on because you're a baby. It's embarrassing to sit there and look at your love interest looking at these pictures. But that's not all. No. To add insult to injury, they get to hear the story of my birth. Picture it. October 6th, 1971. My father, David, is sitting watching the World Series. This is baseball, almost like the ultimate Super Bowl of baseball. And my mother, Patricia, comes into the room. David, it's time. He continues to sit and watch the game. It is the World Series after all. A few minutes later, she comes back. David, it's time. Like, what do you mean it's time? Like, I'm going to have a baby. Let's go to the hospital. So he finally gets up and takes my mom to the hospital. After many, many hours, my father finally gives birth. But I can't be like any other baby. I come out backwards. Yes, I was a breech baby. I was not ready to enter the world. but Albert came anyway. I continued in this fashion for most of my life, living life backwards. I grew up, went to kindergarten, and at the end of my kindergarten year, my teacher pulled my mom and dad aside and said, "Your daughter's not ready to go to first grade. She's too shy. She's too quiet. She doesn't speak in class." So she held me back. I had to repeat kindergarten, people. Kindergarten. I failed kindergarten. It's an accomplishment all in itself. I struggled through school. I had such a difficult time, and I couldn't understand why. All my other friends were having no problem. I just would study and study and study, and it just didn't seem to make any difference at all. Well, finally, in 5th grade, which I had to repeat as well, they did some testing on me, and I found out my problem. I was dyslexic. I saw things backwards from other people. For example, you might see cat, C-A-T. I saw cat, T-A-C. And this is why I had such a difficult time learning, and especially with numbers. But I had some special training, and they helped sit me down and find a new way to study. And I was able to implement this in my life, and I was able to learn how to study for my disability. And I was able to finish high school and even attend some college. You might not have been born backwards. You might not have a learning disability, but I'm sure you have some part of your life that you have difficulty with or that you struggle with. And I say to you, find a different way to try and do this thing. Maybe it's a goal that you have to meet and you're not sure how to reach it. Reach out to someone who's accomplished that goal and ask them for help. Read as much as you can about whatever subject that you wish to accomplish. My friends, even though you might not have been born backwards, you can turn your life around as well. And I can't wait to see where you go. Back to you.
Thank you, Tricia. If we can again have one moment of silence, Gerard, so that we can give Tricia some feedback on her presentation.
Okay, that's 1 minute.
Awesome.
That's
Thank
1
you so
minute.
much, Gerard. If you can finish up your feedback, we now move into the table topics section, and Sunny is going to be serving as our topic master. So I'm going to turn it over to Sunny. Thank you, Madam Topic Master.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and actually Table Topics Master. Welcome, guest. Table topics enables a member to develop the skills of impromptu speaking. Table topics also helps you train to quickly organize and express your thoughts. You can think of a table topic as a mini speech. It can have a beginning, a body, and a conclusion. And this also will provide a speaking opportunity if you did not have a role today. Each speaker is required to speak 1 to 2 minutes, and if you can, use the word of the day, ambivalent. That would be great. I am going to start with a couple of members or guests, so be on guard. We're talking about vacation. Today's theme is vacation. So vacation is an extended rest, a period of leisure, relaxation, especially spent away from home or while traveling. Question 1, where do you prefer to go on a holiday? A place you have never been to or somewhere you have been many times? Adrian, where do you prefer to go on a holiday? A place you have never been to before or somewhere you have been many times?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I'm so thrilled you called on me tonight because I prefer to go on vacation to somewhere I've never been. It adds a little bit more of a better experience of exploring a new area, whether that be a town or even just out in the middle of nowhere. It also pushes me to become more navigably able to see the area as well. It's important to know directions, so when I'm pushed to figuring out where I need to go in a new place, that's helpful. Also, I think being immersed into a new area also helps me to find the excitement in some place that I've never visited before. I enjoy going to other places that I've been before, but mostly it is the new places that I go before that I like to visit on holidays. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Next question. Who is the most interesting person you've met while traveling? Vidyakosh, who is the most interesting person you've met while traveling?
When I went for a travel in Kashmir, I met one of the guy who trained me on skiing. So it was a very interesting and unforgettable journey for me. Um, uh, he was not that skilled, but he knew all the uh, techniques of skiing, and he taught me so well that I was very comfortable, and I could catch it in few minutes. Yeah.
Thank you, Vidkash, very much for your answer. Were you finished, Vidkash? Okay. Our next question. Vacations are often spent with family and friends. What's your best childhood memory of a vacation that you enjoyed with your family or friends? Jamar John Johnson, would you like to answer that question? What's your best childhood memory of a vacation that you enjoyed with your family or friends?
Thank you for the great question, Madam Table Topics Master. So growing up in New York City, I didn't have a lot of money. So we didn't really go on vacations. But later on in life, I found myself as a Navy officer living in Japan, of all places. So we had the opportunity to vacation quite often in exotic places like Hong Kong, Singapore, Guam, Kota Kinabalu, Saipan, Vietnam, and Goa, India. If I had to think about one of my best experiences, I would say without a doubt, hands down, it was Hong Kong.
Wow.
Because in Hong Kong, not only was the food extravagant and the views beautiful, it felt like a posh city mixed between New York and the jungle. There were yellow Lamborghinis and purple Ferraris. And one of my most enjoyable experiences was attending this part of town called Technology Town. There you could get all types of video game systems at half the price. Perhaps they were copied and hacked, but they worked all the same. That experience taught me many things, that I actually did have a travel bug. From that experience, I lived in over 15 places in both the US and overseas. And I developed an appreciation for other cultures and other foods. And the memories that I had with those friends, those former Navy guys who are now retired, married with kids. When we look back, we can be reminded of the amazing times we had when we were young, around 25 to 27. Those were some of the best times of my life. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
And thank you, Jamar Johnson. That was very enjoyable. You painted a very nice picture. And as you said, you can make, what was been said before by Sridhar, you can always make more money, but you can't always make more memories. And with that, I'd like to ask Sridhar, when you go on vacation, do you prefer sightseeing, hiking, shopping, or lying on a beach? When you go on a vacation, do you prefer sightseeing, hiking, shopping, or lying on a beach?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. So the question I was asked is, if I go on a vacation, what do I prefer? Shopping, hiking, sightseeing, or just lying on a beach? It really depends on with whom I'm going on vacation. If I go on vacation with my wife, I like to hike, she likes to shop. So we kind of do a mix of both so that I be happy and she gets happy too. If I go on vacation with my friends, which I don't really go that often these days, we would prefer hiking mostly. So it really depends on whether I go on vacation with my wife or if I go on vacation with my friends. Like in either case, we would do a mix of both, some shopping and some hiking if I go with my wife, and mostly hiking if I go with my friends. My main point of going on vacation is to just have a fun time, and undoubtedly I would go with some people, and it's just not about me going and doing one thing, but it's more like but it's more about are we having fun as a unit, like whether it's my family or friends. So I would really do like a mix of things, what really makes sense to the complete team, so that we really have a fun vacation. Thank you, Table Topic Master.
And thank you, Sridhar. What I have to say to you is happy wife, happy life. All right, another question. Some people plan staycations, vacations at or near home. What attraction or activity would be on your list during a staycation in your state? Rolando, I know you have a role, but would you answer that question? What attraction or activity would be on your list during a staycation in your state? I think you're from Florida, right?
Yes, ma'am. Table Topic Master, Florida Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Good evening again. Staycation. My two choices is if I decide to stay home, after I see my mom or my brothers for a day, I get tired of them. Then my girlfriend or wife will come around and say, "You're home, you're not doing anything. We have to do something." And the two choices, we can either go north or south. North is Orlando, Disney World, or south, we're going to go to the Keys. But on the fall, I don't want to go to the Keys, and the Keys could be a long, boring drive. The last time I went to the Keys, it was like, I think 5 years ago. The problem of the Keys, you go there, after half a day, you already goes around the whole Keys, so there's nothing much more to do. But if I would go up north in Orlando, there are a lot more attractions, a lot more stuff that you can do. So my preference always north. So whenever I have a break and my wife wants to go someplace, I say, let's go north. Orlando. Back to you. I'm Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Orlando. Who's ready to go to Orlando's house for vacation? I am. I believe that's all the time that we have for table topics. And Mr. Timer, did everyone make their time?
Yes, they did.
Wonderful. Well, there was Adrienne talking about a place she's never been to before. Virash, the most interesting person she's met while traveling. John Jamar, vacations memories. Rolando, staycation. Sridhar, hiking, sightseeing, shopping, or lying on a beach, depending on who it is he's with. So everyone will get a chance to vote at the end of this meeting through electronic ballot. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Madam Table Topics Master. It appears that I have somehow gone into safe driving mode, even though I'm not driving, so I'm not allowed to be seen, but I can be heard. Seems like the
There
story
you go.
of the woman.
So
we will now move into the evaluation portion of the meeting, and I will attempt to remedy this safe driving mode fix on my iPhone. William, can you take us away in the general evaluation?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you. As the general evaluator, I'm going to introduce the evaluators and also give an evaluation of the meeting afterwards. So without further ado, can I have our first evaluator step forward, who's evaluating Aaron?
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests. I had the great pleasure and honor to evaluate Aaron, our club president, for an icebreaker. As we learned, Aaron had not given an icebreaker for many years. So it was very exciting to hear such an experienced and accomplished Toastmaster to give an icebreaker. Aaron excelled and inspired us and really exemplified his experience of being an accomplished speaker. Strengths of his speech included a powerful message, a smile, carry a smile. In addition, he used a prop, which I really liked. He had great facial expressions, always a positive smile on his face himself. He shared with us that he was struggling growing up, wanting to get people to laugh. And that really resonated with me. A couple of areas I would like to point out where Aaron could have done even better. For a while at the beginning and then again towards the end of the speech, he was holding his microphone in front of his mouth. He dropped it during the middle of the speech using both hands. And like, wow, this is great. It's a lot better. I believe, Aaron, you do not really need to hold the microphone. We were able to understand you very well when you didn't do that. I really like your pausing and your enunciation. I believe you can even enhance your vocal variety a little bit. In addition, I think you're on a great path. Humor, and I think you can crank it up a little and make a little and get people to not just smile but laugh when you give a speech. I think the greatest smile you gave at the end when you said, well, this is, I haven't given an icebreaker for many years. You're like, wow, that was funny that you as the experienced Toastmaster not given an icebreaker for a while. Again, a powerful message, great delivery, great smile, and I'm very excited about your path in this new pathway and looking forward to your next speech. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Stefan. Before I introduce the next evaluator, Mr. Timer, can you give us time requirements for evaluations?
Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Timer. Aaron, all yours.
Thank you. I will pass the stage then to Rolando, who is going to evaluate speaker number 2 for Harrium.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, Mr. General Evaluator. Well, Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially Harrium. My marriage, I will leave you. Wonderful and hilarious speech. You started off with a bang that got some people shocked when you said murdered or committing suicide. When you said that, that's not the first thing I thought of a marriage, but when you say love marriage and arranged marriage, I got your point. I enjoyed your expression, your pleasant expression, your facial expression, your eye contact. You always looking at the camera. You were fixating on the camera, so I was always able to see your eyes. Your hand gesture. You have nice hand gesture, clear voice, understood every single word that you said. It's true that in marriage, certain marriages, certain couples can be ambivalent to each other. But throughout your speech, the way you talk about things make it so real that it was so funny that it wasn't coming out like the way that it was ambivalent. It was funny and interesting. Where can you improve? The objective of this speech was use vocal variety smoothly and naturally. Use pauses to enhance your message. I feel like you could have a little more vocal variety. For example, if you don't tell them within 1 week, I will leave you. Instead, if you don't tell them within 1 week, I will leave you, the vocal variety will accentuate the message even more. Also, if you add a little bit more pauses, it will accentuate the message also. But in addition, what you did well also, even though you had technical difficulty, you were able to recover with no problem. You came back, you start speaking like nothing happened. You had good structure in your speech, a good beginning, middle, and end. And also, I like your conclusion. Amend your habits, or I will leave you. I like your speech, and I like the way you speak. So keep speaking. You get better and better. Back to you, Madam, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Orlando. And our next evaluator will be me evaluating Trish's speech. Trish, wow. In one word, you had me from beginning to end. I was laughing. Actually, I was laughing so hard, I thought I was going to cry. I would definitely like to see you in our humorous contest. You and the other gentleman who did his What About Marriage or Leave Me, you two would be two great contestants and humorists. But anyway, you had a great speech beginning and the middle. You had great pauses. You had great vocal variety. You had some gestures, which I thought were appropriate. How can you improve on your next speech? I guess your next speech, what I would like to see is more eye contact with the audience, or focus on one particular person for a few minutes. Other than that, great speech. Can't wait to hear your next speech. Keep improving. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator. Thank you, thank you. Now I'm going to evaluate the meeting. We had a great meeting. We had an awesome Toastmaster. Only one point, the Toastmaster forgot to announce me as the chat monitor, but that's okay, it happens. We always have those little hiccups. But overall, I think it was a productive meeting, a great meeting, and I hand it back to our Toastmaster. Back to you, Toastmaster Hart.
Much, William. Can we hear from, we've heard from our evaluators, we've heard from our topic master, we've heard from our general evaluator. Now we come to the part of the meeting where we're getting closer to close. And I would ask that people enter the chat box and vote for their favorite table topics speaker.
Actually,
So
we'll
take
do
a
a
moment
poll.
to do that.
We'll do a poll at the end, Ruth.
We'll do a poll at the end. Okay. All right.
So Ruth, just heads up in case you're confused right now. The roll
Yes, that
tickets
would be that. That would be that.
yeah, the roll tickets have not been introduced yet for their reports, you know.
Yes, I thought that was something that the evaluator did. The general evaluator.
No worries, you can introduce them now.
Okay, well, I would love to introduce them. This is the beauty of coming into a new club, is I get to learn new ways of doing things. So we have several roles that report out. We have the counter, the grammarian, the body language monitor. I believe those are the three, correct, Darren?
No, so timer, counter, grammarian, body language monitor, and also the chat monitor.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and start with the timers report. Gerard, are you prepared for the timers report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So the first speaker was Aaron. He came in right on the money at 6 minutes, 30 seconds. Second speaker, Hariam, came in at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And Trisha Grow came in at 5 minutes and 25 seconds. All table topics came in on time, and also evaluators. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from the counter. Matthew?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Hariam, I apologize if I mispronounce names. Hariam, you had 1. Sidar, I heard 7. Gerard, you had 3. Rolando, you had 2. William, I heard 1. And Ruth, I heard 1 toward the end there. That's my report, Madam Toastmaster.
While we're waiting for Ruth to return, our chat monitor and our body monitors didn't go, correct? So we can start with our body monitor.
Sure. Fellow Toastmasters, I have been the body language monitor tonight, and I heard many comments about gestures from our speech evaluators. So I won't talk too much about those, except that I thought anyone who used them very naturally. They didn't look forced, which is quite good. Aaron, it's already been noted, you holding the microphone limited parts of your speech, and your gestures were part of the speech. I would like to comment on our general evaluator's gestures. William, I haven't seen anything quite so enthusiastic coming at my camera for some time. I found that entertaining, if a little bit distracting. I'd like to comment on eye contact. We still have some members who are, I think, trying to make eye contact with pictures on the screen instead of with their camera. You need to look at that little light. Mine happens to be green, it's easy to see, when you are speaking, so that those of us out in your audience feel that you're really looking right at us. I think framing has been great tonight, with most people centered right in the middle of their picture, a good shot of your head and shoulders, and in Trish's case, she was well centered for her standing speech. I very much enjoyed that, Trisha. That was something we don't see very often in this club. I must say also, you all have the most beautiful smiles. Two in particular I'd like to highlight are Hariam's and Sridar's. You gentlemen just light up the screen. Speaking of lighting up the screen, we have a couple of background lights that are a bit distracting. I'm looking at the ceiling lights for a couple of people. If you could arrange lights so it goes on your face, a good example of that is Sunny, who is always sunny looking. And Matthew, while in a dark room, I can see your face very clearly. It's a great example for the rest of us. Is our Toastmaster back yet? I don't see her. I am finished my report now, and I will return it to our Vice President of Education, Sunny, if that's all right with you.
Sure. And next up is our chat monitor. Is that William?
Yes, that is, Madam Vice President of Education. The chat was very interesting. There were a few people who had some good things to say about Trisha's speech, cheering her on, and can't wait to hear her next speech. I don't have nothing else to say, so I return it back to you, Madam Vice President of Education. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chat Monitor. At this time, I would like to say it was a pleasure to have our Toastmaster of the Day, Ruth Hart. I believe that she did a really great job. I love her voice. And at this time, I'm going to turn the virtual lectern back to our President, Aaron Lung. Mr. President?
Much. Give a round of applause for every single role takers that has been doing a really tremendous job today. Every one of you makes a really unique part in this club, and also whereby we improve ourselves along the way. And we have so many hard workers. I would like to express my thanks to Sunny to be taking up an immediate role as a Toastmaster of the Day. Give a round of applause for that. That is like a table topic, just on a click. She knows exactly where to pack them. And we have two inspirations. Are we feeling inspired today? If you do, you can unmute yourself and say yes, or wave, or just woo!
Yes, woo!
And then we have 3 evaluators. They are so awesome in terms of different deliveries. We have those kind of expertise in there. Give a round of applause for Stefan, Rolando, and William. And finally, we also have our lovely speakers and table topic speakers. They are playing a really great job in that. So now is the time whereby we start the vote, and magically it will appear because we have a nice SAA Trisha girl to be doing the polls. So I'm just doing the magic click. Hopefully it will just, yeah, and then it will pop up like that. Thanks to the world of technology. So please vote for today and see how it goes. while waiting, okay, I'm hearing echoes here. While waiting, it's my pleasure to be announcing a bit of club business while waiting. Is that, as you guys know, this season is going to be tough for some people, or maybe all of us, because it's the contest season. And as we know that the contest season itself, we are going to have our international text-speech contest. The date will be finalized soon. It usually starts in March for the international text-speech contest. But then we'll also be planning to start off the 4 usual contests that we see in different districts as a warm-up to prepare for that contest. So if you're interested to take up for a contest to train yourself up for your becoming the next world champion, please sign up with our WPE to have a list of people. And then obviously we need contest chairs, we need chief judges. So please step up if you're interested to take up those roles. Obviously, all the judges are confidential. You cannot let us know who they are. And who else is that? Yeah, for Sunny, let me see what happens with Sunny. I can't say it because no, you're not a host. You're not a co-host, Sunny. It's only Trisha, I think. Yeah, I can do any comments where as speaker. No, come on. Oh yeah, true. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. But as you know, it's going to be an unofficial contest for the international speech, humor speech, evaluation table topics. So you can join the contest, but then you can't join the international text speech contest. No, because it's not going to area. It's not going even to division because we're unrestricted. Know that we are unrestricted. Yeah. So and then now is the time whereby we will start to see the results for the votes. Trisha? It's the award session. No, so today we have 73% saying great. Give a round of applause or your pat on your shoulder saying that we make a really great team today. And we have our best speaker, drum rolls, although we see the results already, goes to Harriam. Harriam, please give 30 seconds of your winning moments, your thoughts, and Trisha, please spotlight him.
Thank you, everyone. So it's my second speech after coming back, and it's the second time I'm winning the best speaker. Feels really good because I've been practicing not since a long time, since last couple of weeks. And even this speech I wrote very quickly. It was easy for me because it was the memory of my life and something I knew in detail. I had to struggle a little bit to make it slightly interesting and make it in context of you guys. But really feels great, and this club is amazing. I really had some nice feedback from people. And Mr. President, you are doing really a good job. Back to you.
Thank you very much, though. I really need to learn to add more humor into my speech to make people laugh. Next, we have the best or favorite table topic speaker. It was a very close one. And we have drum rolls for our guest. Our guest, Jameer Johnson. Are you still there? Yay. Hi, Jameer.
Hello.
Share us your winning thoughts. You won our best table topics speaker award today.
Yes, so it's a tremendous honor to win the award. I will tell you, this is my first time doing a virtual meeting. I'm located here in Los Angeles, California, and I'm in 4 clubs as I pursue the International World Championship of Public Speaking. And I will tell you that today I actually had a coaching session with a client that I was helping with his speaking. And I actually recommended that he join this club today to work on some of the tools and techniques I taught him today. So I figured I would just join on myself just to check it out and see what the experience was like so I could speak from experience. And I'll be honest with you, it's something I think I would definitely join to add and help facilitate the process of learning speeches and practicing speeches at home. The old days of talking in front of the mirror are behind us now. With technology, we can actually get feedback off of the practice that we're doing. So I'm really excited about the prospects of this club, and I'm going to tell everybody that I can about it because I think it's an awesome opportunity to work on your game.
A round of applause again for Jamie Johnson for winning it. And it was an amazing experience. You share the same ideas I do. We do a lot of different speeches, practicing online, and getting so many very diversified feedbacks. So if you're interested in join our club or know more about our club, please leave your email in our chat box. Today at WPM, currently in places William Thomas, and also we also have Sunny to also follow it up as well if Sunny can assist. But William will be in touch with it. Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. President. To the guests, I put my email in the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I don't mind helping out any way I can. Back to you, Mr. President.
Sure, no problem. So leave us your emails, and also we have Widigish as well as, because great speech I saw that is a really great attempt. So give yourself a round, give ourselves, our guests, a round of applause for the brave attempt to actually do the table topic speech. Next, we do have is the favorite evaluator, the best evaluator. Our best evaluator is a tight call again. This goes to Stefan. Stefan, are you there? I'm going to see what happened with my screen. Stefan? Stefan is not. Is there? Stefan. Hi, Stefan. Calling Stefan. Calling Stefan. Okay, he's a bit away, but no worries. And finally, we do have every meeting we have a present award. It's for the most improved, or we see the most spectacular individual in the whole meeting, who that actually goes to. In this meeting, we see a lot of very cheerful face. To me, I honestly want to give this award, drum rolls, to Gerard. Give a round of applause to Gerard. Why? It's because taking a timer role is never easy. And most importantly, he is in a place whereby I dream to be in. That's not the reason. But the most important thing is he's doing a timer role for first time in our club. Is it true? And also making sure that we are following on time is to do very delicately at this hour, because I don't see any sunlight there. So give us a round of applause to congratulate Gerard for the most improved, most spectacular top job today. So share us some thoughts for today, Gerard.
Thank you very much for that. Actually, thank goodness for this app on the phone, because when I was starting to do it, I would have put up the wrong colors and everything else. So that made it a lot easier. And it felt really good to be connected and helping in any way I could. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Funny, I'm okay public speaking, but with the video, I have a hard time, and I started getting nervous at the beginning of this. If I was going to screw up, will I be judged? So it was nice to get that little bit of fear and push through. Thanks, guys.
Round of applause, Gerard. Really great job. I mean, even as your first time, I've seen you improve as well throughout the times. The first time when you came on the stage, you were like confused, slightly nervous and stuff. Now you are being more composed, and that's the improvement that we want to see from you as well. Keep on challenging yourself.
Thank you.
Finally, the most important task is to my fellow team member, most distinguished Sunny, to be actually. What is it? What is it about? Remember, there's always a role to be taken at the end.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I hope that our advisor will help me out a little bit, Cheryl. But you know, we always have roles that are open. I believe that we probably will need a Toastmaster of the Day. Correct me if I'm wrong. I pulled up the wrong week. I still have this week's agenda. So Cheryl, do you know if we have a Toastmaster of the Day for next week? I'm going to have to check. Sorry, Mr. President, that I don't have it right in front of me, but I just want to encourage everyone to go to our next meeting, which will be the 12th, and please take a role in advance. And also, because I set the themes, I would love for our members to send me some suggestions for themes so that we can share the wealth of just having a great time during our meeting. And thank you, and back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, though. With that in mind, we conclude the meeting. We are just 3 minutes into extra time mode.